Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Friday. It's time to go live. Yes, indeed, honeys. It is Friday. We got some interesting topics tonight. It's going to be clean, extreme and clean, and in between. How is everybody doing? Who do we got in the house tonight? Ooh, look, we got 10 likes already. That's amazing. So, everybody just take a minute to get into the chat, get your drinks, get your snacks. We will get rolling here. We are going to be talking about some things today in entertainment news. We are going to be looking at Franke, who has actually pled guilty to child abuse. We're going to catch up on that. In politics, we have Republicans trying to get an inquiry to impeach Joe Biden. We're going to take a look at that. Michigan now has a new sort of satanic art display. I want to critique that. And then at the end of the evening, as you know, we have our palate cleanser of science. We're going to be looking at things about Uranus. Haha. We're going to be looking at Uranus. We got some new pictures of Uranus. We're going to go from there. But until then, let us just chill and hang out, and you can ask me questions. You can tell me about your week. You can tell me what you've learned. You can tell me all sorts of things you want. You can ask questions, whatever you want right now, until we actually get people, more people into the room. So, what is going on? I see Laura in the house. Hello, Laura. Good to see you. I see Cassidy. Good to see you. Joanna. I see Tyler. I see Michelle. Michelle says, I got an Arab bottle. You know, I've been hearing people getting this Arab bottle thing. And I just, I'm just not interested, I gotta say. I mean, I get it if you, like, you have issues drinking. I don't have issues drinking water, though. Like, I can just drink plain tap water and I'm fine. In fact, I just purchased, like, 3 months ago, a heavy-duty water filtration system that goes underneath my sink so that when I turn on my tap water, it's filtered. So that is how I partake of my water. Iskander, I don't know, Iskander. See what's in Uranus? Apparently. The stream wouldn't even work without me. It's true. It's true. What did I do this week? Oh, nothing. Honestly, I've been super lazy. Now that it's the end of the year, for some reason, I just have no motivation to start any new projects. And I feel totally fine about that. I'm just like sitting back, relaxing, slugging on the couch, watching a bunch of YouTube shit. I'm just waiting for, I've got my break now that's going on, and as soon as the new year starts, I'll get back into gear and start doing some new projects and things. But until then, I am quite content with just doing absolutely nothing in the meantime. Hey, Melinda Mayhem, good to see you. So again, yeah, we're just hanging out, relaxing, and chit-chatting, waiting for people to get in. We got some interesting topics today. Stuff about Franke, stuff about Joe Biden, stuff about this We got another satanic art display gag, and also some more science news. We're going to look at Uranus. So Laura says my anus is fine. No, we're not looking at my anus. We're looking at your anus. Your anus. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Since this is the first time you caught alive, watched a few replays, though hilarious and informative. I'm glad, yeah. Yeah, so we're just chilling right now for a little bit, waiting for people to get in. And then we shall get to going. Go ahead, tell me about your week, ask me questions. Tell me something random, I don't care. How many of you regularly think about Uranus? How much do you think about Uranus? Is it something that's on your mind? Are you concerned about Uranus? Ever? What's going on with Uranus? Melinda Mayhem says, I just finished my little chit-chat with my new boyfriend, and it made it on time for the live stream. That's lovely. Good for you, honey. That's awesome. Laura says, I think of mine every day, actually, at least once, but even more often. Yeah. I don't know. For me, as I get older, I think about my anus a lot more. There's always something going on down there. Keep your anus safe and clean. Did you wash your ass today? Just asking, did you wash your ass today? Imagine somebody coming into my live stream right now to me being like, did you wash your ass today? They'd be like, what? Keeping anuses safe for decades now. I don't know what that means, but I just imagine you as like a shepherd to anuses. Like a shepherd to like free range anuses like roaming in the fields, and you're just like safe keeping them. So let's get our viewing screen prepped. There we go. As you see, I got a lovely Christmas background. I don't know if I had this on last week or not, but this is my AI generated Christmas background. I AI generated this myself. I just wanted something Christmassy, but not so, I don't know, in your face. I wanted like a Christmas aesthetic without the Christmas, if that makes sense. So this is the best I could come up with at the time. It's got lovely green and blue and teal and pink especially. I like the contrast between pink and blues. And I like how the Christmas tree in the front is, you know, decorated, but you can't really see like the decorations are really what that is. It's just kind of generic. And then the trees in the background are more darker and plain. So pretty fun stuff. And the star on top of the tree, that's pretty cool. It looks like there's northern lights in the sky. I don't love doing our AI art. Like I don't find it addictive, I guess. Like it's just kind of like I do it when I really need it, but I do like this. Really gorgeous. Thank you. Well, thank you. Do I have a bidet for my Do you have a bidet for your anus? I don't know if your anus needs a bidet. I don't know. I just take a shower, I guess. We're going to talk about butt wiping right now. I take a shower after I shit. I don't know about you guys. Typically. Typically. Because I typically shit in the morning. We don't need to know this. Let's not go down this route. Anyways, how do you wipe? Front to back, back to front. And I'm joking. Don't answer that. You, wow, Laura says that she has over 9,000 images now of AI art. That's amazing. You've been very busy. I don't know much, but I know I love you. Does anybody know that song, Don't Know Much? By, oh shit. Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville. Does anybody know that song? It's been stuck in my head for a week now. Between Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville. It's the song called I Don't Know Much. I don't know much, but I know I love you. And that may be all I need to know. I don't know if that rings a bell for anybody, but I can't get it out of my head. It's an older song too. Very pretty though. Very pretty duet. If I need to pick a something, let you know. Yeah, for sure. I feel like I have too many pictures for things, frankly. Like every time I sit down to make a thumbnail, it's like it's like a big production. Laura knows what I'm talking about with that song. Hell yeah. Linda Ronstadt has an impeccable voice. She does another song. It's like something about a blue bayou. Blue bayou. I don't know. It's really good. Like she's a really good singer. I grew up listening to grocery store music. It's pretty much my favorite genre of music is grocery store music. I'm joking, not really. I mean, it's just I just noticed that a lot of songs in the grocery store lately are songs that I like, and I'm getting really concerned. Must be some mark of getting older when you start liking the fucking grocery store songs. Yes, exactly. Blue Bayou. Yes, Blue Bayou. Linda Ronstadt's voice kind of reminds me of Karen Carpenter. I don't know if you guys have listened to the Carpenters, but it's Karen Carpenter. Ah, it's so tragic because I believe she died, I think, of eating disorders. I can't remember if she just died from the eating disorder, if she killed herself. Oh, I shouldn't say that on shit. I'm not supposed to say shit like that. Offed herself. But her voice was so beautiful and so haunting. She had a very haunting voice for some reason. But Linda Ronstadt kind of reminds me of Karen Carpenter in that sense. Random fact. The oldest wooden wheel in existence is 5,000 years old. That's amazing. Yes, Carpenter died of anorexia. Yeah, which is sad. It's so sad. She was so talented. Frankly, I partially blame her family for pushing her into that. It's kind of like another Jackson situation where, you know, you got like a talented kid and she had brothers that were musically talented too. And they all like really pushed her and forced her into performing. And she ended up like really obsessing with her appearance. And unfortunately that got the better of her. But if you've never heard of the Carpenters, look up Karen Carpenter, the Carpenters. She's a beautiful singer. I love her songs. I really like that late 70s sort of style of vocals, though. It's really cool. Linda Ronstadt, Lauren Branigan was really good. Karen Carpenter. Shit, who else? Really good singers. I don't think there really was much established in eating disorders at the time that Karen Carpenter was struggling with it. I think that was still on the cusp of like when people were starting to realize things. But I don't think she got the help that she needed, nor do I think anybody encouraged her to get the help that she needed. But anyways, remember how we have talked about Ruby Franke, the YouTube mom who was questioned for her styles of parenting from the get-go. But then she dropped off, her family channel dropped off, and then it came out shortly that she was involved with a lady called Jody Hildebrandt, and they started their organization called Connections, which was about life coaching and parenting. Jody Hildebrandt is not only in trouble with this case of getting investigated for child abuse, but she's also being investigated for other cases of manipulating people as well. So if you're just jumping in, buckle up. So at first we had Ruby Franke, a open Utah Mormon mother who had a YouTube channel that was basically a family YouTube channel. A family YouTube channel is where families post their family stuff, and they make money off of that. Okay, and more these days it's coming out that these family YouTube channels that post like major cornerstones or milestones of their children's lives and things, like it's coming out that these are just really bad and extremely exploitative of children for money and gains. So Ruby Franke was already under fire for her style of parenting and her posting it on her YouTube channel with her husband and her kids. At some point last year, or a couple of years ago, that family channel stopped posting and went dormant. Then Ruby Franke popped up with a woman called Jody Hildebrandt. also a Mormon sort of, not a mom per se. She's not a, I don't know if she's a mother, honestly. I don't know if she has children. Jody Hildebrandt was previously a licensed therapist and counselor, and the Mormon Church would often recommend members to her for counseling and problems in their lives. The problem with that is that Jody Hildebrandt is a very corrupt person, and she would end up manipulating families, and she's done it to like several people, so much so that there's an entire website dedicated to her. Well, Ruby Franke, who is already under fire for her questionable parent styles, hooked up with Jody Hildebrandt, and both of them collaborated in this very weird organization called Connections, in which they offer life coaching to people. Now, Ruby Franke is in no way, shape, or form educated or certified to be any sort of counselor. Jody Hildebrandt, her license to practice and counsel people was put in suspension before Connections even started, I think. I'm not sure of the timeline quite there, but she's not really operating legally. But yet both of these chuckle fucks decided that they're going to run an organization to tell people how they should live their lives and how they should discipline their children. Now, a lot of Jody Hildebrandt's ideas of disciplining children includes literally torturing them, depriving them of food, comfort, safety, purposefully as a tool of manipulation, to which Ruby Franke has totally given into. And it's at this point where earlier this year, there were Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke in Jody Hildebrandt's home in southern Utah, where a child finally, one of the children, one out of two children, escaped that home, ran to a neighbor's and said, "Please help me, I'm starving, I'm hungry," and had like bad wounds all over his wrists from being tied up by rope, things like that and the other. And just like the horror just keeps continuing. It really does. Hold on. We've done, oh, hi Elise. So we've done a ton of deep dives into Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke. So if you're kind of new to this, I apologize. There's a lot to fill you in with. So if you have any questions, please ask. But we are continuing with this saga of the atrocities here. And as you know, Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke are held in custody, and now Ruby Franke, at this point, we're hearing some news and some insight to this. She's coming forward and she's pledging guilty to these crimes of child abuse, and this is going a direction that I called it. Like, I called this when we were investigating Jody Hildebrandt from the beginning, when I'm like, hey, who's this other woman to Ruby? Like, let's look at Jody. So when we were first investigating Jody, I think, and at this point where like the kids were taken out, I said, I'm like, Ruby's best bet is if she tells the court and the people that Jody was the mastermind behind everything. That's literally her best bet. And she's taking it. She's taking that best bet. She's going forth to say, can pledge guilty that she did in fact abuse her children, and she's pinning everything on Jody Hildebrandt. She is throwing Jody Hildebrandt under the bus. And I think this is a smart move for Ruby. I think this is the best bet she has. The problem, and we'll get to that in a minute, we're going to start this up. There's a big problem with this, though. Something that bugs me, but here, let's get this started.
Seated. Court is now back in session. Good morning.
morning. Welcome to District Court. We're here in the matter of State of Utah versus Franke, case number 231501764. Mr. Windward is here representing Ms. Franke. Let's bring her out. And Mr. Clark and Mr. Sham are here representing the State of Utah. Ms. Franke is now here.
So she comes in and she smiles back at the courtroom, like in the back, and I think she's got some family there or something, or at least somebody there that's looking out for her, but because she walks in and immediately smiles at the back of the courtroom, so... Hey, Mark! Good to see you, Mark! Another one of our wonderful moderators, in addition to Elise. Plea bargain based on other one being most culpable, pretty much. That's her only, yeah. And Philip! Hello, Philip. Good to see Philip. We love Philip. So anyways, Ruby Franke just walked into this courtroom, smiling at the back of the courtroom. I think there's somebody
and
there
Mr.
that she knows.
Clark and Mr. Sham are
or at least somebody that's there on her
Utah.
side.
Ms. Franke is now here.
Wow.
Mr.
Look at them scrubs. Don't they look flattering on her?
Windward, we are scheduled for a waiver hearing. Is there going to be a waiver today?
There will, plus a plea agreement, Your Honor.
All right.
I'll ask the bailiff to hand you if it's been executed.
All right. Mr. Windward, you have discussed with Ms. Franke a preliminary hearing, what's involved in a preliminary hearing. She understands she has a right to a preliminary hearing on all of the charges in the case. She understands what the charges are, and she's prepared to waive a preliminary hearing in the case on all charges.
She is, and that is contained in this agreement on page 7 as well.
Very good. All right. I've been handed a plea agreement, and it appears to be signed by Ms. Franke. Ms. Franke, did you sign this agreement?
Yes,
And you did that today? When did you sign it?
on the 18th,
Okay. You've read it carefully?
every word.
Your signature represents to the court that you've read it carefully, that you understand what you've read, and that you agree to all of the terms. Is that all?
So they're talking about the plea agreement. I don't know what this agreement contains. I just don't think it's really gonna... I don't think she's gonna get off that easy. I really don't. I don't, even though she's now pleading guilty to the charges, I don't think she's gonna get off very easy. Or if she does, there's gonna be some extreme fucking public outrage about it. I'll tell you what.
All accurate?
Yes,
You've had sufficient time to ask questions of your counsel, to go over any questions you have. You're ready to go forward.
yes,
You don't need any more time.
I'm ready.
Ms. Franke, is anyone pressuring you to enter into this agreement?
No,
Anyone promising you anything I haven't been told about?
no,
Anything that's not in the written plea agreement?
no,
Are you under the influence?
Yeah, true, Mark. But I think, like, if she gets a significantly reduced sentence, I think people are going to be pissed. I mean, we're talking... The thing she's done to her children is so above and beyond. I mean, it's literally, like, it's borderline, like, how people treat, like prisoners of war, you know? Like, type of torture.
Of alcohol or drugs today?
no,
Is there anything today that could in any way interfere with your ability to understand the agreement, its consequences, anything?
no,
No physical condition, no medication, nothing?
no,
Any further record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
She just
Mr.
doesn't...
Winter, we ready to proceed?
We are ready to proceed.
You know, no matter what context I see Ruby Franke in, like, whether it's her own videos, whether she's happy, sad, or, like, confined like this, like, there's something about her eyes, and I know you can't really judge a person by their looks, but there's just something about her expressions that just seem weirdly vacant to me. It's almost like she's kind of void of emotion, and she, like, the way she expresses a lot of her emotions is very contrived. Like, it's almost like she's really good at masking, or like just like portraying herself as emotional, but there's something about it where I'm just like, the only emotions I feel like she genuinely feels is regret for being caught in this situation. Like, that's it. Like, frustration, anger, and sadness on being caught and confined, rather than what she's actually done. That's just kind of the vibe, though. But hey, I'm not like a professional reader. I'm not like a psychologist or anything like that, so don't listen to me. It's just literally my opinion. She just seems vacant.
All right, then. Ms. Franke, how do you plead to count 1, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
To count 3, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
Guilty.
To count 5, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
Guilty.
And to count 6, aggravated child abuse, a second-degree felony?
With my deepest regret and sorrow for my family and my children, guilty.
Bullshit. You are not deeply sorrowful and in regret of your decisions. You knew. See, this is what pisses me off about these kinds of people. They're adults. They know exactly what they're doing. It's not like they're completely absent of comprehension of the situation. She made those decisions. How can you make those decisions in how you treat your children and not realize, like, she knew the techniques she used to discipline her children. She knew they hurt them. She knew that. She knew her techniques hurt her children. She did them on purpose to do so. She wanted to inflict physical pain on her kids. And so this is where I just call bullshit with her being like, oh, I deeply regret what I've done. You knew what you were doing. You consciously made a decision saying, I'm going to inflict pain on my child because I want to, and I think that's what will work. She did it on purpose. So this is bullshit to me.
There is a factual basis set forth in the agreement that is a stipulated factual basis, counsel.
That's correct, Your Honor.
That is correct, Judge Walton.
The court finds that the factual basis is sufficient. All of the terms of the agreement are stipulated, including that the court obtain a pre-sentence investigation report, correct?
Correct.
There won't be
She does look like a sour grape. She looks sorry that she was caught. She doesn't look sorry that she did it.
any argument about whether prison is the appropriate sentence, and there's an agreement about the 4 counts running consecutive.
That is correct.
All right. The court finds then that Ms. Franke's pleas are made knowingly and voluntarily. The court therefore accepts and enters those pleas. The court orders the preparation of a pre-sentence investigation report to be prepared by AP&P and the Department of Corrections. Counsel, what about sentencing on February 20th? I think,
Hi, Brent.
do you and your client agree to waive time, counsel?
We do agree to waive time.
Ooh, it's stuffy in here. I need to open my window.
Your Honor.
February 20th, I believe, is a Tuesday.
Mark says, imagine if she had to be confined by a warden and prison guards with exactly her level of abuse and control fixations. Yeah. some news, like some details about more of her child abuse techniques came out, and they were like really fucking bizarre. Like, she made her little girl run barefoot on a dirt road until her feet like began to blister and bleed, and then other times she would lay on her son or something, or just purposefully make it so that he couldn't breathe, things like that. Just like really starvation, like making kids sleep outside in the cold with like no bedding. Just really nasty stuff. Like, I have no sympathy for her. I definitely believe she was manipulated by Jody Hildebrandt for sure, because Jody Hildebrandt brought a lot of those techniques to the table, but Ruby Franke was already in this mindset. She was already this kind of person, and Jody Hildebrandt entering her life was pretty much just like a spark in a powder keg, you know, like it added fuel to the fire. It just turned it into a bonfire. But Ruby Franke's going to try really hard to blame everything on Jody Hildebrandt, and to a degree, I think it's going to help her maybe get a little less of a sentence than Jody. But overall, I think Ruby is fucked, and frankly, she should be, because she fucked her children over. And she deserves everything that's coming to her. And if she gets a very minimal sentence, I think there's going to be a public outrage. I'm going to go on a public outrage
Tuesday.
if that happens.
Is that right? Tw 10 a.m.?
That works for us, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else for today?
Or maybe, I've heard the court say this several times in a different fashion. We are not binding the court to any specific sentence, and the court retains its right to sentence as it sees fit. I just mentioned that this is not a Rule 11 plea, but although it's a stipulated statement of defendant.
Counsel approach, please.
So basically what he's saying there is they're not like officially asking for a specific kind of sentence or a lower sentence. I think they're just moving forward with this plea to try to set the wheels in motion to paint Ruby Franke lighter than Jody Hildebrandt. So just the fact that her hearing came first before Jody's, I think they're just trying to like beat the punch and be like, oh, look, we already know, we're very sorry. Like, so that whatever Jody Hildebrandt comes out with might seem like, that's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you what, this case involving Jody Hildebrandt is not going to end here, because there's the other cases involving Jody Hildebrandt and her terrible counseling services for other people where she literally ruined their lives. Okay, there are several other people that have been hurt by her that I think are going to come forward and have like law things. I know her niece, I can't remember their name, Jessie Hildebrandt, is coming forward, and there's still legal action like coming forward about that. This is going to go on for a long time. A long, long time. Okay. Just sit there, bitch, and be quiet.
All right, anything else for today?
No, Judge.
Nothing from the state.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are in recess.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Good morning. Welcome to District Court. We're here in the matter of State of Utah versus Franke, case number 231501764. Mr. Winward is
So this is the same thing, just a different angle, I guess. Same thing, different thing. Wow, a language I can't understand. That helps, thank you. Ruby Franke, a mother of six who gave parenting advice on a once popular YouTube channel called 8 Passengers in the U.S. state of Utah, has pled guilty to 4 counts of aggravated child abuse. She is 41, and she tried to convince her 2 youngest children that they were evil and possessed and needed to be punished and repent. And that's the weird psychoticness of, like, what just drives me nuts about this is that there's a severe religious component of all this abuse. You see, Ruby Franke is a very religious woman growing up Mormon in Utah. Jody Hildebrandt is also a very religious woman. And both of them together, you know, created their life coaching organization that didn't work out so well. Now, before all this happened, Jody Hildebrandt already was manipulating people and teaching them that their children could potentially be possessed by demons, literally. Like, they are possessed by evil. And a lot of the methods that Jody Hildebrandt would do was convince the husbands of families, you know, if you go to family counseling, she would convince the wife and the husband that the husband has a pornography problem and therefore needs to be separated from the family. And then what she'll do is she'll take the mother and convince the mother that her children are being possessed by whatever evil spirits. And the only way to rid her children and save her children, and she's done this to several mothers, is to literally torture and beat the devil out of them. Just beat the devil out of them. Like, that's their idea. Like, the more you make the body uncomfortable, the better chances you'll have of exorcising the demon. So this is the kind of reality tunnel that Ruby Franke lives in. She lives in this reality tunnel where her husband is like a crazed porn addict and then her children are evil. And you see how that kind of like isolates somebody when you convince a mother that her husband and her children are not safe, are not something that she can rely on or depend upon. That, you know, that's just like the thing. And this is where I'm going to say it blue in the face. This is where I think plain as day that Jody Hildebrandt is a lesbian. Straight up. I think she's a lesbian. I think she really likes manipulating families to separate the wives away from the husbands and the children and have them be dependent on her. I really do. I think it's an infatuation thing with separating the women out of families. That's an opinion, though. That's my opinion. It's my opinion. But that's just kind of like how it seems, right? It's just a little interesting to me. A little interesting. So, Franke was originally charged with 6 counts of child abuse in September and has not pleaded guilty to the 2 other accounts, but she has done it for the 4 accounts. So, the 41-year-old former YouTuber faced accusations of starving and abusing her children after one of her sons managed to escape her former business partner's home in Utah. Franke, who once had over 2 million subscribers for her parenting vlog, appeared in court and pleaded guilty to each of the first-degree charges, or first 3 charges of individually. On the 4th one, she said, with my deepest regret and sorrow for my family and my children, guilty. I don't think she has any deep regrets or sorrow for any of her family at all. I don't. I think she's just saying that because she has to at this point. I think she did what she intended to do, and now that she's facing the reality that that's not okay, I think in a different world, in different circumstances, she would double down, but I don't think she really has room to double down right now. I think her biggest bet is to blame everything on Jodi Hildebrandt and try to get out of it that way. But she's still going to receive a really harsh sentence, and hopefully she does, and rightfully so. So according to Utah law, second degree to aggravated child abuse can be charged if the person knowingly or intentionally inflicts serious physical or injury to a child or causes or permits another to inflict serious physical injury to their child. Each of these charges carries 15 years in prison for each charge. 15 years. I hope she goes for life. I really do. I hope she goes for life because, and frankly, her name's Franke, and it's funny to say frankly, I don't think she should be allowed within fucking this. I don't think she should be allowed in the same room with a child ever again in her entire life. And if she ever gets pregnant again, that child should be immediately taken away. Like, she should not be around children at all. Not even supervised, frankly. I don't think she should have anything to do with any kids. She should just be permanently banned from children. Yes, don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you so much, Andy, and it's good to see you, Andy. I hope you're having a lovely time. Let's see, Brent says, my mother was a lesbian and I didn't see much signs lesbians trying to break people's... No, that's not what I meant. Certainly not. I don't mean to say that lesbians break up people's families. I'm just saying I think Jodi is one, and because she's so religious and doesn't really know how to like express that in a healthy way, in her own weird twisted way, she tries to gain access and make women dependent on her by separating them from their families. It's just a weird pattern with her, but that's certainly nothing to say on all lesbians, of course. That's not a lesbian trait per se. That's just her trait. And I think she secretly is one and she can't deal with that. And that's why she goes through things in a really destructive way, if that makes sense. Let's see. Windward Law in a statement said that the abuse... Oh, I gotta blow this up. This is too small. Occurred while Franke was influenced by a relationship counselor. So Jodi Hildebrandt is a relationship counselor. Oh, not anymore. Who led her to a distorted sense of morality. A distorted sense of morality. Ruby, you already had a distorted sense of morality before Hildebrandt came in. She had a words, Jan. She already had a distorted sense of morality before that. I mean, it was like the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Like the perfect storm. So her defense team said that Hildebrandt led her to a distorted sense of morality, and they called the 41-year-old, they called Ruby a devoted mother. Oh, she's devoted, all right. Devoted to being a pain in the ass. Yeah, she's devoted. That's why I see a lot of people, they're like, well, Ruby Franke must hate children. And Jodi Hildebrandt must hate children. No, I don't think they hate children. I think they love children because children are so easily manipulated and they can do what they want with them. They don't hate them. They love them for all the wrong reasons. In August, Franke's 12-year-old son escaped Hildebrandt's house and told officers the 54-year-old had put ropes on his ankles, wrists, according to court documents. The officials at the time said the boy had to be taken to the hospital due to his deep lacerations from being tied up with rope from his malnourishment. They later found Franke's daughter, who was also malnourished, and took her to the hospital. Eventually, 4 of her children were placed in state custody. The 41-year-old has admitted to torturing her 12-year-old son for months with hours of physical tasks, outdoor work during summer hours without enough water, and repeated and serious sunburns. She'd make her kids stay outside with no sunscreen or anything. Her son was denied food or given very plain meals and was isolated from other people. Fuck me. She reportedly restricted her son's access to books, notebooks, or electronics, and also kicked him while wearing boots, held his head underwater, what the fuck, and smothered his mouth and nose with her hands. I'm speechless. And yet she has deepest regrets. Quote unquote, she has deepest regrets and sorrow for her family. After she did this to a child? She's not, again, I know I've said this a billion times. She's not sorry for her family. She's not sorry what she's done. She's sorry she got caught. And she's sorry she doesn't live in a reality where this is acceptable. That's all she's sorry for. I have no sympathy at all, like not even a smidge, for people who have children in their care, under their care, and their children are completely dependent on them, and they treat them just like complete dog shit. So both Franke and Hildebrandt have been arrested and charged with 6 felony counts of aggravated child abuse and remain jailed since their arrest. The Franke family was criticized online for their vlogs for showing several of their appalling parenting decisions. And let's see, Ruby and her husband have since filed for divorce. I guess Ruby Franke is supportive of the divorce, and Ruby Franke is supporting her husband taking complete custody of the children. Yo, she needs to just fuck off. I think she knows what's going to happen. Now that I think about it. Knowing that she's in support of her husband divorcing her and her husband taking full custody of her children, I think she kind of knows what's coming. I know it seems like she knows she's going to be away for a long time. Yeah, I think she's fucked. She's fucked. And honestly, I couldn't be happier that she's fucked. She should be. She should be completely kept from everything. And frankly, I think she should endure some of the punishments she gave her children. I think she should go work outside with no water. I think somebody should put their hand over her mouth and nose and make it so she can't breathe. Like, what kind of sick fuck gets a jolly off of treating kids like that? And you know she enjoyed it. Let's see. So Ruby says that Jody Hildebrandt took advantage of her and twisted their relationship into something heinous. You loved her. You loved Jody. Jody was right up your alley. Franke, 41, pleaded guilty to all 4 child abuse counts on Monday. She will be sentenced on February 20th, 2024. And also agreed to testify truthfully against Jody Hildebrandt. Prosecutors had detailed the severe abuse Franke's two youngest children faced in the months leading up to her arrest in late August, alongside Hildebrandt, 54, according to the newspaper. Franke, who vlogged about her Mormon family daily life since 2015, had been criticized online in recent years for harsh punishments as she and her husband, Franke, blah, 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 yeah. More accounts of the abuse. In a statement to local Fox 13 head of guilty plea Monday, Frank's attorney at the Windward Law confirmed laid blame for her behavior squarely on Hildebrandt, a controversial Mormon sex therapist. She wasn't a sex therapist exactly, but anyways. So the guy says this about his client, Franke. Initially, Miss Franke believed that Jody Hildebrandt had the insight to offer a path to continual improvement. Miss Hildebrandt took advantage of this quest and twisted it into something... Go away. Heinous. You can't deny that Ruby Franke already was doing horrible shit to her children before Hildebrandt came in. You're just doing this because you literally are backed into a corner and you have nowhere else to go. And it's the only thing that they can do to save face for Ruby. What a bunch of shit. Let's see. The lawyer's statement added that Franke has actively begun the process by reaching out to members of her family and that she seeks to mend relationships with them. Oh my God, they're not going to want anything to do with it. Could you imagine being a child and receiving a letter from your mom like, sorry, I put my hand over your nose and mouth and tried to smother you to death. Sorry, I starved you and made you sunburnt, like get royally sunburnt working outside in the hot sun. But just so you know, I still love you. Like, if I got a letter like that, I would wipe my ass with it. Like, seriously, I would wipe my ass with it. I can't imagine what she intends to mend. And unfortunately, Mormon culture is really toxic, and they give this thing where, like, if you don't forgive somebody for wrongdoings, then it's almost a sin in itself. Like, to hold grudges is a sin. Like, you should forgive and forget everything. Turn the other cheek type thing. So there we have it. So what are your thoughts and feelings on this? What do you think's going to happen? I think Ruby Franke isn't going to get off scot-free, even if she pleads, that if she pleads guilty or tries to push everything on Jody Hildebrandt. I just don't think it's really going to go that well. Oh, Philip, thank you so much for the super chat. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Yay. I love that. Forgive, perhaps. Forget, not so much. Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Elise. It is a part of her plea deal, but they're not precisely asking for a reduced jail sentence. They're just laying it on the table because her hearing came before Jody's. We still haven't seen Jody's Hildebrandt's hearing yet. I don't know if she'll plead guilty. We'll see. We will see. It's going to be really interesting because she has many cases of people whose lives she fucked up. Hey, Susan. Thank you so much for gifting a membership, Philip. And the membership went to Brent. Congratulations, Brent. Awesome. Let's do some emojis in the chat. Let's do disco balls. Disco balls in the chat. That's where it's at. Celebrate, celebrate. There we go. So, let's see. Yeah, not much we can do about the situation with Ruby Franke, except for just wait more for what's going on. So we are moving on to talking about Biden. And what's interesting is like every article about Biden is right-winged because like, I mean, naturally. This news is a little bit old. I mean, I guess by like a week, but it is what we got. So, I don't like Joe Biden. I think he's old and boring, and frankly, doesn't really do that much good. Like, I don't care for him. I don't like Trump either. I'm not impressed with anybody that's running for president, really. Just not at all. What video is this and why should we watch it? Let's see.
So far, the House Oversight Committee has been at this for years, and they have so far not been able to provide any concrete evidence that Joe Biden personally profited from his son Hunter's overseas business, but they are going to try again with this impeachment inquiry that's set to start next week. Stu.
Peter, thanks very much indeed. See you again soon.
So, as you know, the Republicans are trying really hard to, I guess, just get Biden for something. And I don't like Biden. I think he's fucking irritating and boring. But, I mean, it's so funny when the Republicans talk about Trump, you know, getting indicted and things, and they're like, this is a witch hunt. But yet, this thing that they're doing to Biden, it literally is a witch hunt. Like, they're trying so hard to, like, find something. Susan says, I'm not a fan of Biden, but we cannot have Trump. I mean, I'd rather have Biden, but I don't like Biden, and I want Biden out immediately. Like, anyways, Republicans in the House of Representatives have voted to formalize their ongoing impeachment inquiry. Now, pay attention to the word inquiry, because, you know, it's not that they're actually impeaching Joe Biden. They're just inquiring. Why is this going full screen? Go away. Go away.
All right, last question.
Oh, Jesus. So it's just an inquiry into President Joe Biden over accusations that he profited from his son Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings, because his son has business over the seas, and there's, I guess, some hang-ups there in the business practices and the business dealings of his son's businesses. Business. So a resolution in support of the inquiry passed 2021 to 20212 on Wednesday, 13th of the December. And with Republicans and Democrats voting along party lines and no one breaking ranks to rebel. So far, no evidence has been produced to prove any wrongdoing against the Bidens, but House Speaker Mike Johnson has insisted that the investigation is necessary and not a spurious political vendetta against commander-in-chiefs his side disapproves of, as Democrats have alleged. Speaking at a press conference on the Tuesday ahead of the vote, he insisted, "We have to take the next step." Mr. Johnson continued, We're not making a political decision. It's not. It's a legal decision. People have feelings about it one way or the other. We can't prejudge the outcome. The Constitution does not permit us to do so. We have to follow the truth where it takes us, and that is exactly what we're going to do. Well, you go, girl. You go, girl. Hey, Morg. The counter-argument was made forcefully in a response by California Congress Pete Aguilar, chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, who said simply, "It is painfully obvious that they are trying to hurt President Biden politically to help Donald Trump get reelected." I mean, is he wrong? Oh, awesome. Thank you for the super chat, Morg. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yay, I appreciate that. Yay. That's cool. So let's see. That sentiment was echoed by Hunter Biden himself prior to the vote on Wednesday, after he refused to appear before a private hearing and instead told reporters on Capitol Hill that MAGA Republicans had spent 6 years invading his personal life and discrediting his father for political gain. I bet that's pretty true, actually. I'm pretty sure he's been, like, just harassed and investigated, like, pretty much picked at for anything that the Republicans can get on them. So he accused his enemies of having distorted the facts by cherry-picking lines from a bank statement, manipulating texts I sent, editing the testimony of my friends and former business partners, and misstating personal information that was stolen from me. He continued, "There is no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. They have lied over and over about every aspect of my personal and professional life, so much so that their lies have become the false fact they believed by too many people." Yeah. Haley, wow. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, "Happy Yule listening but tending to family." Well, thank you so much for listening. It's good to see you. I hope everything's going well with your family. It's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, more disco balls in the chat. Celebrations for everyone. Disco Inferno. Hell yeah. Disco balls. Disco Inferno. Get down, babe. Love that. Yeah, good to see you, everybody that's coming in. I'm glad to see you here. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. I appreciate all the super chats and likes and hugs and wishes and things like that. Let's see. All right, let's go back to, I think they're still talking about what Hunter Biden said. He said there's no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. They have lied over it. Okay, blah, 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 blah. So why is the impeachment inquiry being pursued? Why are the Republicans trying to figure out if they can impeach Biden? I mean, it's an impeachment inquiry, so they're not outright being like, they're going to impeach him, but I guess it's just an inquiry. I don't know. The wordings of these things are sometimes really nuanced, but not. It seems nuanced, but it's very detailed if you look into it. So let's see. The House Republicans inquiry, first announced by Mr. Johnson's predecessor in the chair, Kevin McCarthy, on Tuesday, 12th of September. Mr. McCarthy chose not to hold a floor vote at the time, despite having protested against the Democrats' decision to proceed in the same manner when Mr. Trump was first investigated with a view to impeachment in autumn of 2018. Says these are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction, and corruption, and they warrant further investigation by the House of Representatives, said Mr. McCarthy, referring to the House Oversight Committee member James Conner's preliminary probe into the accusations against America's 46th Commander-in-Chief. And then the Speaker said, "Through our investigations, we have found that President Biden did lie to the American people about his own knowledge of his family's foreign business dealers. I mean, who gives a shit? All the shit that Trump does, and yeah, this is the pearl clutcher. Anyway, so he claimed the allegations together, paint a picture of corruption, and vowed the House would go wherever the evidence takes us. But you don't have any evidence. You have nothing. Mr. McCarthy, who has since been ousted by his own side. Exactly. I was having that in the back of my head. Like, it really doesn't matter because he was ousted anyways. Like, this news is a little bit old. But anyway, said the inquiry would be led by Mr. Comer, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan, and House Ways and Means Committee Chairman. Blah, 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 blah. So Mr. Johnson subsequently argued his side had no choice but to change tack and hold a ballot after all, accusing the White House of obstructing the investigation's progress and saying that the full support of the lower chamber was needed to secure increased subpoena power for the inquiry. We've come to this impasse where following the facts where they lead is hitting a stone wall because the White House is impeding that investigation now, he said. The White House has challenged some of the inquiry's requests, arguing the Constitution requires that the full House authorize an impeachment inquiry before a committee may utilize compulsory process pursuant to the impeachment power. However, it says it has also given House Republicans access to 35,000 pages of private financial records and at least 36 hours of testimony. Ian Sams, the White House spokesperson for Oversight and Investigations, has dismissed the House inquiry as a wild goose chase, wasting taxpayers' money and a baseless stunt. The American people are yet again going to see a clear contrast in priorities. President Biden, who is focused on solving the challenges facing America and the world, and extreme House Republicans who only focused on stupid stunts to get attention for themselves, he said. Well, I mean, I don't want Biden to be around really either, but I mean, you got to go about these things properly, and the properness of how things are meant to be gone about has been very challenged in the last few years, in case you haven't noticed. What is the background to the case? The charge to impeach Mr. Biden was previously led by Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Gross, who has failed in the endeavor on at least 6 previous occasions since the veteran Democrat entered the Oval. Marjorie Taylor Greene does nothing but waste time and money. Literally. Like, everything she does is such a baseless waste of fucking time. Like, I don't know how, even just productivity-wise, she still has the position she does. Like, she does nothing. She does a lot of nothing. Ms. Greene had already filed House resolutions proposing to open impeachment inquiries into Mr. Biden over a baseless Republican conspiracy theory concerning his dealings in the Ukraine. As vice president in 2016, his extensions of federal COVID-19 eviction moratorium, his handling of U.S.-Mexico border security twice, the U.S. withdrawal military personnel from Afghanistan, and claims that he endangered American energy security by selling oil to foreign nations. MTG and Bobert are the cheerleaders of doom. Yeah, pretty much. So Randy Weber, Bob Gibbs, Lowen Bobert, Bill Posey, Louis Gohmert, and all these assholes have likewise all filed impeachment motions of their own against the president to the 117th and 118th Congress, of all which have simply been politely referred onto the House Judiciary Committee and never heard of again. So, I mean, this is exactly what I mean about, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these other people. Like, yeah, they do a bunch of work, but it literally goes nowhere and does nothing and is completely baseless and a waste of time and money. It's like, what are we paying you for? This time, the populist wing of the GOP is determined to haul Mr. Biden and his troubled son over the coals on the questions of the latter's corporate interest and over whether the Biden administration's Justice Department has intervened on the younger man's behalf during the ongoing criminal case against him. Anyways, are all Republicans convinced? No. Not all House Republicans are behind the project. Colorado's Ken Buck, who serves on the House Freedom Caucus alongside Ms. Green, told Jen Psaki on MSNBC on Sunday that he did not believe there was any evidence to suggest that Mr. Biden had committed high crimes or a misdemeanor. The threshold for commencing an impeachment, yeah. The time for an impeachment is the time when there's evidence linking Mr. Biden or President Biden. If there's evidence linking President Biden to a high crime or misdemeanor, that doesn't exist right now, he says. You know, Marjorie filed impeachment articles of on the President Biden. Jesus, I can't read this because they repeat a lot of things and I'm trying to like simplify it, but the words are like fucking up in my brain, so... Marjorie filed articles of impeachment on President Biden before he was sworn into office more than 2.5 years ago. So the idea that she is now the expert on impeachment or that she is someone who should set the timing on impeachment is absurd. Yeah, she ain't doing shit. Yeah, we don't have the evidence. The evidence doesn't exist. Yeah, they got nothing. It really is a witch hunt. Speaking to ABC, Don Bacon of Nebraska said that a vote to impeach Mr. Biden was by no means an inevitability. I may be an outlier on this, but I think it's more important to have this information for elections. Let the voters decide, he said. And I don't know what you're going to see. I don't know that you're going to see a high crime or misdemeanor, but I think the voters deserve to know what did the Bidens do. I mean, sure, that's fine. Whatever it is they did do, you don't have any evidence. So how have Democrats responded to this? Before Mr. McCarthy first announced the inquiry, Jamie Raskin, the ranking Democrat of the House Oversight Committee, attempted to shoot down the impeachment push before it got started by issuing a letter arguing that Mr. Comer's initial efforts to investigate the president had only served to reveal that his case was full of holes. Oh, thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says thank you for bringing us news stories. News stories, toes. Happy, merry, joyous solstice, Yule, New Year, and the best year yet. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yes. And to you too, honey. I love seeing all of you on Fridays. It's so great. It is the day. It is the time. I'm upset their tier get paid $174,000 per year for a part-time job that's so often a mimicry of public service is such a perfect way to describe like pretty much what these people do. Phillips says they haven't even passed one legislative bill that benefits the people while they've been the majority. Their whole world revolves around retribution, hate, and lies. It's true. They don't do anything productive. It's a lot of like gross investigative nonsense. Like, absolutely. So, in a lengthy document released on Monday 11th, September 11th, Mr. Raskin noted the failure of Republicans to obtain testimony from any witness actually alleging the occurrence of wrongdoing by the president, including from the opposed GOP star witness, Devin Archer. A former friend of the younger Biden, Mr. Archer testified to the committee that Hunter Biden had sought to profit from his surname and presumed family connections, but denied any knowledge of the man's father actually being involved or having any awareness of that fact. The letter also addresses the inability of Republicans to prove that any money connected to Hunter Biden's business ventures ever found its way to his father. Then what do they keep bitching about? Rather than owning up to the fact that the evidence in his top priority investigation has established no wrongdoing by President Biden, Chairman Comer has resorted to misrepresenting and distorting this huge body of evidence to make baseless sensationalistic claims. Yeah, Chairman Comer has repeatedly and without evidence asserted the falsehood that President Biden has inappropriately received foreign money. When the vote was finally held on the House floor on Wednesday, Mr. Raskin once more made the case forcefully and declared it's like an Agatha Christie novel where the mystery is, what is the crime? After 11 months of this, no one can tell us what President Biden's crime was, much less when it happened, where it happened, what the motivation was, or what the motive was, and who the perpetrators were. The Congressional Integrity Project, a left-leaning watchdog, also issued its own assessment of Mr. Comer's work, branding it as 8 months of abject failure. I mean, Trump is under fire for so much shit. It's just like, you know how we were talking about Ruby Franke just shifting blame on Jody Hildebrandt, which Jody Hildebrandt was a monster, but in this case it's like Trump is under so much scrutiny and investigation. It's almost like they're grasping for straws, like literally grasping for straws, trying to find anything and everything, and even when they found nothing, they double down on it as if it's something. It's a little sad, because frankly, I don't like Biden, and I would love them to actually find something and take them all down and have them both go away. Just both go away. Both of you go away. Both of your senile, diaper-wearing old asses can go the fuck away. Like, I'm so sick of this old-ass demented president shit. Forgot how chill. This channel is not chill. We are not chill here. I am the opposite of chill. Anyways. Moving on. I guess I really just don't have much to add to that whole Biden situation. I mean, it pretty much summed it up, like, perfectly. Like, they're trying to impeach and invest. But that's what I mean. It's like, they're not even having a motion to impeach. It's like, there's an impeachment inquiry. It's like, so basically what the Republicans are saying, if Joe Biden did do something illegal, could we impeach him? And it's just kind of like, I guess, but you don't have anything, so what are you doing? Marjorie Taylor Greene just wastes her time. She does nothing. She does nothing for this country, literally. Like, absolutely nothing. I don't know. What do you think? I think American politics are just exhausting as hell. Jan gets spicy because shit's so dicey. It's true. It's true, though. It's true. I do love that. Thank you so much, Andy. Says I forgot how chill and educational this challenge is. I'm like, this is not chill. Chill enough. So, let's see, what time is it? I'll take a little break. Alright, I'm going to go pee, and we will be back on to our next topic. So hold on for a minute, okay? Okay. Let's see. Okay, and we're back. Thank you, Elise, says Jan. By the way, I'm still working on an art for the P screen. Yes, so I am taking submissions for the P screen. If you would like to submit your P screen art, you can do so by tagging me. If you post it and tag me on Instagram or Facebook and I can see it, then we'll find out if you will be the next P wall artist. But yes, I am taking submissions for the Janice piece, for the P screen, for this screen. The BRB Janice peeing. Like, I just need a holding screen. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, weird political stuff. You know, when I read into the whole impeachment inquiry for Biden, I'm like, oh, maybe they found something really, really juicy. And it's just so disappointing. It's like, no, they found nothing. So it's like, okay, great. Well, then why are you wasting our time? But yeah, they turn around and complain that the whole thing with Trump is a complete witch hunt. It's like, Trump has done so many things. Mark says, we're worried about preserving our sane, neoconservative, utterly middle-of-the-road Democrat over something massively worse. That constricts the whole national conservation. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I think it's kind of like choosing the lesser of two evils, but I hate doing that. I think that's such a dumb position to be in. It is. It's a dumb position to be in. And it's no fault of our own, of course. Like, it's not our fault, like, that everything's so corrupt. But, like, when you're stuck in a situation where you have to choose the lesser of two evils, that's a dumb position. And frankly, we deserve better. We deserve much better. I don't want to constantly be in the position that will choose the lesser of two evils. I wish I had a choice between two presidential candidates that both were so good. I was like, damn, I don't know who's, like, better. Rather than, like, well, who's the least shitty? Like, it would be nice to vote on that sort of premise rather than just like, oh, just find the lesser of two evils and maybe we'll make it through this term. Tired of that shit, yo. That's why we gotta stand up and vote. I am a big proponent of voting. We are going to be all into voting. 2024, we are going to be all about voting, honeys. I don't know what my hair is doing, but it's driving me nuts. It's driving me nuts. So, my friends, moving on to something funny. So, remember how last stream, we had our incident in Ohio where this satanic artistic display was destroyed, right? Like it was in the county office or something, and some man came up and destroyed it, and people were like, and then I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, that's great. This looks like shit. I think I would destroy it too. Even as much as I love Satanists, like this looks like poo. It looks like poo. And I even like, okay, so even I like disco, like mirror stuff, but even I think this is tacky. I don't know, like, what happened. So, but we do, yeah. So we had this incident. So now we have another incident where somebody put up a satanic statue in the Michigan Capitol. This article right here is so right-winged. Like, it's almost comical. It's really hilarious, but it's got the basic information. It's just a description of it that's really funny. A satanic statue was erected at Michigan Capitol, and this Democrat stuffer thinks it's sexy. I just like, like, that's like the most Republican thing ever. That's like almost bordering like QAnon. So the Satanists are back, and this time at Michigan Capitol with their beloved satanic goat statue designed to mock Christianity. In the name of Satan, I declaim him the sexy satanic Baphomet goat altar, our Michigan Capitol. Amen. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Dude, this looks like Loppy when he's dressed up for Halloween. Like, what the fuck is this? And what the fuck is she doing? This is not sexy. This is the most, this is the shittiest. I do not know what's going on with Satanists lately. But they have a serious underfunding in their... Why is my face showing up again? Like an underfunding of their artists. They do. Didn't I have another... picture of this? I thought, let's see, what is this? Michigan goat statue. I just, of all the opportunities, where's my other picture of this? I thought I had everything together. Yes, this. Here we go. Here's another picture of this. This is ugly! This is ugly! I would be outraged too, and I'm even support of Satanists. Satanists should have their mark, but when you put like this shit on here, you just slap this together, you're Satanist for fuck's sakes. This is the best you could do with your time and your artist? Like, did you pay your artist? Like, what the fuck? Christians have tons of, like, gorgeous, sexy, like, dark artwork. And the Satanists choose this? I'm not talking about, like, Americanized Christianity. I'm talking about, like old-ass fucking shit. But, like, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Go back to the article I was at. No. So anyways, the Satanic Temple is no longer desecrating the Capitol grounds with its snaketivity scene. So apparently another satanic group came in to build this little ugly little guy that's a Democrat. Or this is a Democratic staffer giving this statue a smooch and calling it sexy. Okay, well, turns out mocking Christianity isn't simply a joke. It's a way of life for some very bad people. And when you point that out, they fold. Not everybody who mocks Christianity is a bad person. That's so funny. The satanic group that put up this statue represents the extreme, but it's without a doubt that our country is falling more in love with Satan every day. Whether we realize it or not, it's a struggle to defy sin, and one must work every day to rid oneself of it, lest one give up and eventually become a Satanist. Well, I don't know about you, but becoming a Satanist would be far too much effort to me. Like, even, like, just, I couldn't keep up with that, so I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, this article is funny. It's totally so, like, right-wing and, like, Christian worded. I stand with the Republicans in Michigan House who penned this letter, which defines the exact position any sane person would have on this issue, so I'll leave it here in full. This article writer is really upset at this shit. I'll tell you what. We, as members of the Michigan House of Representatives, respectfully request the removal of the statue depicting a satanic goat from the grounds of the Capitol. We believe that its presence not only contradicts the foundational principles of our nation, but also promotes a public display of evil. What happened to separation of church and state? Anyways, our nation's ethos is deeply rooted in moral and virtuous principles, as highlighted by John Adams in his letter to the Massachusetts militia. Morality and virtue are the foundation of our republic and necessary for society to be free. The presence of this statue at the Capitol seems to undermine these core values, which are fundamental to the republic's foundation. They don't even know what the statue means. They're just going up based on their own interpretations of what the statue is. As elected representatives of our respective districts, we are entrusted with upholding the values and principles of our nation, that our nation was built upon. Therefore, we strongly urge the Capitol Commission to consider the implications of having such a statue on the Capitol grounds to take decisive action when its removal. Our firm belief is that removing this statue will resonate with the principles of good and morality, and that our country, like your religion, really is founded on morals and the principles of good. Like, you who fucking make people suffer and enslave people every day in a really psychological way. In a highly psychological way, religion enslaves and tortures people every day. But by God, remove the bundle of sticks. Look, the only reason why I want that statue gone is because it's hideous. We trust that the Capitol Commissions will promptly address this matter, affirming that the symbols of evil have no place within the grounds of the Michigan State Capitol. We earnestly hope that the Capitol Commission will uphold the highest standards of decorum and respect by preventing the exhibition of any symbols representing hatred or evil. It really doesn't, though. That's not what it symbolizes. The statue doesn't symbolize hatred and evil. It does in the eyes of Christians, but it's certainly not what it means overall. The only hatred in this instance is to the artist who never got paid enough. Anyways, on the premises of Michigan's government seat, as we approach the Christmas season, it is an opportune moment to contemplate the honor and the foundation principles and values that are imparted by our nation's founding fathers. Clutch my pearls. We should keep a copy of this letter handy because there will only be more of this Satanist nonsense to come. I like this writer. He's really miffed. The Satanist stuff isn't sexy or hip or even clever. Actually, it is. It's really sexy, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's evil, and anyone who supports this is evil too. Well, I mean, what can I say, folks? Here on Jan Daemon live stream, we are evil. As far as getting the statue removed, well, this is freedom of expression. It's right there in the First Amendment, technically, so the law will not allow for its legal removal, and that's all I'll say. So, essentially, your butt hurt comment at the end. P.S. Now check out our latest video. Your video about what the White House has to say about Biden economic... Oh, wow. This is not the B. What website is this? What is this? This has got to be some, Republican-based, sort of thing. About... What's this website about? Is a humor-based news, opinion, and entertainment site from the creators of the Babylon Bee. It'll feature some absurd and hilarious but real news. Okay. Okay, so that was meant to be a bit. It was full of like correct information, but it was meant to be satirical. Really good though, very entertaining. I just don't understand this. This is ugly. Do you think this is ugly? Is this statue ugly? Okay. We're finding out right now. Is this statue ugly? Is this statue ugly? I say yes. I think this is ugly. I think they could have put something there like really nice, but this looks like shit. You don't even know what it is. Is that a goat? It looks like a pile of fucking sticks to me. It reminds me of that movie. God, what was that? What was that famous movie where the kids go into the forest and then they find the witch's house? But they would find like these bundles of sticks like outside their tent and stuff. It was like a really big movie at the time, and I can't remember what it was called. It was the one with the perspective from like the camera recorder, and they would run through the forest, and then there's a scene with the kid crying and he's got like snot down his thing. What was that? Oh, the Blair Witch. Yeah, this looks like Blair Witch got bored and tried to do some arts and crafts. Like, this looks like Blair Witch went to Joanne's craft store and decided to put something together on the fly. That's what this looks like. I'm so glad that 71% are agreeing that this shit is yes. Some of you said no. Well, to each their own. I would not want this in my yard. This is just sad. Sad, sad, sad. Maybe if the person that did it was a musician instead of an artist, but why would you do that? Where's that thing at? Michigan. I guess at the state capitol. Alright, end poll. We have determined that this is ugly. Hey, Fachita. Hi, Vibrational. Hello, everybody coming in. We are actually just getting on to our last topic of the evening. Let's see, how long have we been streaming now? Almost 2 hours? Yeah, okay, that's good. We are going to move on. So we did our entertainment section, which was catching up with Ruby Franke pleading guilty to child abuse. We covered our political news, which is people trying to impeach Joe Biden, which doesn't seem like it's going well. This was our religious news, discovering that, you know, there's this crappy pile of sticks come here and put in the Michigan Capitol. So now we're on to the final section of the evening, which is science. This is our sort of palate cleanser, the really cool stuff to look at. So let's move on to our science section, and then after that we will sign off. So, what's up? We're going to take a look at Uranus. I have fresh pictures of Uranus. Really close up of the hole. So, NASA's James Webb Telescope took to social media to share a stunning image of Uranus and its faint, diffuse, and elusive Zeta ring. Not only that, the space agency also captured bright storms on the icy planet. Since the images of Uranus were shared on Instagram, many people called it beautiful. Really cool. These new images reveal detailed features of Uranus's seasonal north polar cap, as well as bright storms near below the southern border of the cap. Isn't Uranus tilted? Like it's the one planet where its axis is like basically sideways? That's what I thought. Uranus. Yeah, it is on its side. That's what I thought. It's like a weird planet where it's literally like on its side.
Uranus orbits the Sun on the same plane as the rest of the planets in the solar system. Unlike the rest, however, Uranus is tilted more than 90 degrees compared to that plane, and so are the ice giant's ring system and the orbits of its 27 known moons. The research published in Nature Astronomy reveals a huge cosmic crash might have led to the strange behaviors observed from the gaseous planet.
That's crazy.
The new model suggests a small, icy planet, roughly 1 to 3 times the mass of the Earth, knocked Uranus on its side shortly after
it knocked you on your ass. Oh, good night, Mark. Thank you so much for coming. It's so good to see you. Say hello to your daughter for us. And make sure to tell your daughter about Uranus.
was born. The collision also apparently altered the planet's rotation. Uranus spins around its axis once every 17 hours, significantly faster than Earth does.
I love how, because, like, I'm a huge fan of Sailor Moon, and there is Sailor Uranus, but they call her Sailor Uranus. Like, they say it Uranus, and some people say Uranus, but it's not. It's Uranus. So it's really funny how they're like, Sailor Uranus. It's like, Sailor Uranus. Like, you just don't want to say it. Sailor Uranus is really cool, though. One of the better Sailor Scouts.
Giant impacts in the cold and dark outer solar system have different consequences than those much closer to the sun, such as the ancient collision that resulted in the formation of Earth's moon. About 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized body called Theia likely crashed into Earth and cracked off our planet. Debris from the impact coalesced into a single mass and gave rise to our moon. But the material released during the Uranus collision was much more volatile and remained gaseous longer. The proto-Uranus gobbled most of this gas up, leaving less of it around to form moons. If you like this channel and want to support us, please subscribe and hit the...
Neat. So, these new images reveal detailed features of Uranus' seasonal north polar cap, as well as bright storms. So it's pretty much sideways. Like, it's tilted, like, pretty much sideways. So when we look straight on at Uranus, it's like we're looking at the top of it, or like the southern part of it. as well as bright storms near and below the southern border of the cap. If humans want to send a spacecraft to visit Uranus up close, it's necessary to understand how to navigate debris from its rings. Because of the planet's extreme 98-degree tilt, its seasons are extreme. For a quarter of its year, the sun shines on one pole, which means half the planet experiences a dark 21-year Earth year winter. 21 Earth years that it experiences, like the half of it is just completely dark? That's insane. The space agency further added that Uranus is a good proxy for many of the types of far-off exoplanets being discovered. Learning more about Uranus may help us understand more about planets of this size in general, including their meteorology and how they formed. Okay, so this post was shared days ago. Uranus is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. On Instagram. Doesn't this blow up? There we go. Wow, that's a big picture for us to look at. I'm trying to find a blown up picture of this shit. And it's like so small. There we go. That's nice. That's cool. So there's Uranus, and there's its rings, and it's on its side. It's so cool, like, how well we can see things in space now. Like, it's absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. What do you think? Look at that. Isn't that a nice anus? That's a nice anus. What do you think about that anus right there? Really good anus. Yeah. All right, folks. That's it for tonight. I want to get off and go eat some dinner. We got our lovely image of Uranus here for you to hang out and check out. Really pretty. We had a lot of good conversations tonight. Catch up with Ruby Franke. The bullshit with Joe Biden. We talked about that ugly-ass satanic statue. Another one. 2 ugly satanic statues, okay? Will the third one be nicer, please? Somebody deliver some good art. But I really appreciate everybody coming here. It means a lot to me to spend time with you. It means a lot to me to have, to see all your faces in here, commenting, hanging out, having a good time. It really helps me out when you like the live stream and you subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And to all of those who sent super chats today, you're beautiful. I love you. I really appreciate it. And what you send helps tremendously. It helps keep things going, helps me keep my lights on, the bills paid, everything like that. So I'm going to say goodnight to all of you. Good night, Tyler. A big shout out to our moderators. We had all of the moderators in the house at one point. Thank you all for helping out, keeping the chat safe. We always have a good chat here. Always have a good chat. It's always chill here. So good night, Laura. Good night, Elise. Good night, Patricia. Good to see you, Patricia. Good night. Iskander. Thank you so much for coming. Brent. Becca, thank you so much for the super chat. Has been a member for 4 months. Says, have a great night, everybody. You too. Have a great weekend, and we will see you when we see you. Probably I'll see most of you in the live stream chat on Monday for Morgue. Joanna, thank you so much for coming. And Sinfully Lee, thank you so much for coming. So good night to all of you, and to all of you a good night. Take care, and we will see you next week, okay? Okay. All right, bye. I love you. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Oh, yes. Oh, there is an Oculus stream on the Neogenian Oculus tomorrow. So I will see you there in the chat for tomorrow. Totally. Nice, nice, nice. Yes, lots of things going on. All right. Hugs, hugs, kiss, kiss. We'll see you all later. Bye. Bye. Mwah.